Hi friends, Mindy here. I have a quick process video for you today. This is for day 13 of Consider Jesus. And off camera, I have cut up a couple pages of hymnal paper in just various sizes, rectangles and squares, skinny and wide, and just various sizes. And I am taking my collage medium here. This is the Tim Holtz collage medium. You could use gel medium, matte medium, Mod Podge, whatever, for this technique, but I just am doing this because it dries pretty fast. So laying down a layer of the collage medium and then putting the music paper over the top, and I'm not paying attention. I'm not worried about which direction and whatever. I want some of the music going sideways. I want some of it to be upside down. It's more for the texture of everything. So I'm just grabbing random pieces and gluing them down and making sure just to put a good coat of paint or of collage medium underneath, and then a good coat over the top. I'm making sure to layer the pieces so that there's a good intersections you can kind of see here. So even when I've had like a bigger piece, I made sure to add some smaller pieces over the top of it just to give it some texture for the next step. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a couple more pieces here on this left side, and then I'll do the same exact process over on the right. I won't make you watch me glue all of that down because that's not very interesting at all, but this is just kind of the process here. Just trying to work up next to the gutter as close as I can get. And again, just making sure I have a really good coat. There was like this one little area that was kind of bare here in the middle, so I'm just adding kind of a long skinny strip there in the middle just to make sure that I have some good interest with the texture. So then I'm going to go ahead and do it over here on the right. And on these I had hanging off the edge a little bit just because that was the size of the papers that I had, and I'll just, after I dry that all, I will go ahead and trim those down so that they are flush with the page. But I'm just taking my heat gun and just making sure to dry this. There's, several layers of that collage medium on there, so it just needed a little bit of help. And then I'm taking a little plastic sheet here, and this is my Dina Wakley paint and sand. If you've seen other videos in this series, I've been using this paint a lot for this particular book because I just feel like it matches really well with what I'm trying to do. And then I'm using my brayer. This is a Tim Holtz brayer. You could use any, speedball, whatever. You could also do this with a palette knife. You could also do this with a credit card. I'm choosing the brayer because I want to make sure that I have a really thin layer of paint, because I want it to get to kind of hit and miss with some of the texture that's on there. So I'm just going to kind of keep applying this until I get it kind of to the look that I want. I don't want it to completely cover everything, and acrylic paint is opaque, so I just want to make sure I did a really thin coat. And then as I've done in other videos, I am going to take distressed crayon. This one is, I want to say it's in Faded Jeans, and I'm just kind of going through kind of around where all of those seams are, basically from all of the edges of the paper, and I just kind of outline those. And I'm going through first with my baby wipe just to get an initial layer of color down. I thought I was going to use two different colors, and then I ended up just sticking with Faded Jeans for the whole for this whole page. But you can kind of see I'm just going in there and smearing some color around using the baby wipe, just trying to give this some interest. And then I wanted to add a little bit more to the edges. I just kind of like having it a little bit darker around, almost like a border. And then just going back through here, smoothing it around. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that same distressed crayon, and I'm going to go through this kind of again. But this time, instead of using the baby wipe, I'm actually just going to smear it with my finger. This is going to give me just a little bit more of a defined line. And then when my finger gets a little bit too dry, I just kind of rub it on the baby wipe just to kind of moisten it. And that will help this distressed crayon move really easily. And because we're doing this over a layer of collage medium, it's really going to blend pretty easily with my fingers. So I'm just going to go around and just kind of define all of those pieces of paper. I like this particular look. think I've said this before. Mixed media is one of those things that I really, really love doing. I have loved it for a long time. I was doing that before I started Bible journaling, actually. And so kind of doing a throwback to some of those techniques has just been fun for this particular kit. So I just went ahead and did that same thing on the left side. So you can kind of see where we're at here. I do want to add just a little bit more interest to the background and kind of push some of that back. So I'm pulling out this really old stamp set from By the Well, just for a couple of the stamps that are in this. You, of course, could use the stencil that had the coffee rings and whatever. I just wanted a smaller ring, basically, than what was on the stencil this time. So I'm just stamping in archival ink, doing that because I'm stamping over a non-porous surface and I need this ink to dry. Distress paint or distress ink won't dry really on this very well, and so I'm using it's archival ink. That's the formulation, and it's ground espresso. It's that same distress color, and I'm just stamping randomly these two stamps. One was like a coffee ring, and then one was like a little splat, and just in a couple different places. Not a ton. I just wanted to add a little bit of interest. It also helps kind of push those layers back into the background just a little bit more. And then I'm going to go ahead and ink all of the pieces that I'm going to use for my page. So I'm using this file folder, and then I'm going to go around the border of this page, and I'm going to try to add just some distressing around kind of the edges, just to kind of darken up the edges and just almost give it like a border. So I'm going to be using this glassine envelope. I went ahead and inked that as well. I have a lot of notes for day 13, so I needed a couple different pockets to put them in. So I want to use this beautiful journaling card, and then I'm going to use the title starter on here. I'm just going to line this up on my grid mat and try and get this as straight as possible near the top of this glassine envelope, just because I'm going to be adding an ephemera piece down there to the bottom left-hand corner, and so this will just kind of act for my title for this day. I love that By the Well released the title starters with the sticker kits, the additional stickers this month. So it's just been really helpful and just keeps a good, consistent look for the pages, especially in a journal like this. So you can see that ephemera piece there. I'm not quite sure how I want to do it. I have this other ephemera piece that I thought I may use or may not. I wasn't quite sure. So you can see I'm tapping my fingers thinking about it. So I decided to just move to the other side. And while I'm thinking about how I want to do that left-hand side, I went ahead and just burnished it down this file folder, and then I'm going to glue the two sides to create a pocket. I just don't want my notes to fall out, and I have, like I said, quite a few notes from this particular day. So I do have this ephemera piece that I'm just going to glue here in the bottom right-hand corner, and I have distressed all of these. I did not trim them down. On other days I have, but for this particular day, I did not. I just left the white, but I went ahead and distressed around the edge to kind of take some of that white off of there, so it's not quite so like in your face. And then I'm just having this, I have this big ephemera piece. This was from the floral pack that you could get this month. And then I just glued that up there, hanging off, and I'll trim that down later. And then I'm going to glue my little file folder here and tuck all of my notes. You can see there were several flashcards for this day, but I also had additional notes from the scriptures that were on this day. So back over here on the left side, I like this ephemera piece, but I just wanted something else, kind of another texture. So I have this, this is a tea bag actually, and it's like we're just a regular family size tea bag. So I took it and I scrunched it up, and now I'm going to kind of just tuck this behind this ephemera piece, and then I will get everything kind of where I want it and sort of start from the top down and glue everything. So I'm putting a little bit of glue on the ephemera piece and on the tea bag and gluing that to that corner of that glassine envelope, and then I'm just kind of scrunching things up a little bit, and then I'm going to glue this one ephemera piece that's in the very back layer. I'm gluing that now to the glassine envelope as well, just making basically one big cluster out of all this. I wanted to add a little bit more glue so that I could keep this tea bag kind of curled the way that I wanted it. Just adding a little bit more glue here on the front side with this ephemera piece. Glassine is a little, tricky sometimes. So, and then just adding a bunch of glue to the back, and then I'm going to glue this all down as one piece and just hold it there for a minute because it's a pretty textured page. Then I'm using the tile alphas to indicate that this is day 13 in the bottom left-hand corner there. And that is going to be it for me. I will trim off this top section and then go back and distress the edge just to kind of make it, look like it was with the rest of the page. And then that is going to be it for me. I'm going to rearrange a couple of these cards in here. I wanted that blue one in the front. So anyway, if you liked this video, I would appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And until next time, bye.